100% wild-crafted sea moss. Only the best, 'cause you deserve nothing less. 8 Butterfly.
One love, Delta 9 travelers. One love. Who is in the live with me right now? If you can hear me and you can hear me clearly, please and thank you. Drop a 9 into the comment section, Delta 9 travelers. Drop a 9 into the comment section for me. Can you hear me and hear me clearly on your side of the globe? I'm coming through to you live from the sunny Commonwealth of Pennsylvania presently. Where are you located right now? Where are you coming through from right now, connecting on this international digital connection? I'm telling you, we got so many headlines to get into today, buddy. So many headlines to get into today. So many things for us to update one another with. Listen, we got the headlines. We're going to be getting into the 6 bills that are being slated for parliamentary discussion tomorrow, right? You know, persons are going to be analyzing some of what is going to be discussed. Persons have already started to decipher the information that is going to be discussed from the 6 bills, right? So we're going to get into some of that, like a little pre-read before we get into what's going to be discussed tomorrow. Plus, they got a lot of persons complaining. A lot of former PNC members are making complaints about certain things that might have caused them to leave the party. We're going to be getting into that. We're going to hear from the leader of the PNC himself. You know, we do it over here on Delta 9 Media. We ain't biased. We don't have no political affiliations with any political party directly. So we're able to present in a neutral manner. Big up to all the travelers who are in the chat from early. Thanks for tuning in to Delta 9 Media. So many things for us to discuss on this live presentation, right? Who's in the live with me right now? From the early, big up yourself, you guys. Thanks for tuning in and being a part of the live. Good night to Roderick. What's going on, King? Big up yourself. Thanks for being a part of the live presentation. You know, it's a Truth Thursday. And you know, sometimes the truth can be a funny thing. Sometimes the truth can be a funny thing. We're going to get into some of these truths. But before we get into the serious conversation that we got to get into in this live, let me start it off on a lighter tone. Let's get into some of what one of our more popular content creators / comedians have been up to recently. You see what's going on here. Because all the little days, sometimes we've got a problem with the truth. Sometimes the truth can be a funny thing. It's Truth Thursdays right here on Delta 9 Media. We cruising and we boarding. Big up to all the travelers who are here from early.
Check on see if you bring it. Hello?
Junior, where you for?
Daddy there? Daddy said to tell you know.
Father said to tell you know. Watch it.
My father said you know.
Tell your father I want more money. You there right there? Yes, grass, boy. You're right there. Tell me you know. I just feel I just play this game like that. I just some brother buy.
Daddy said we cut off the phone.
Junior, what the fuck? I call you won't give me money, no bad. This thing here running for me long, dodging me long, no bad. I know you're there right there.
The truth can be a funny thing. Big up to all the travelers who are in the live right now. Hi, Sen. Thanks for being a part of the live and thanks for being a loyal supporter, a frequent traveler as well, right here on Delta 9 Media. Hi, Sen is saying, good afternoon, Delta 9 Media family. It's been a long time away. but I send blessings as always. Big up yourself, Hysen, and thanks for being a part of the life, and blessings and all the great things in this experience we call life to you and your loved ones. Big up to everyone that's going to catch this live in the rewind in the future. Listen, you're live right now with Delta 9 Media, and we're about to jump into some of these very important and trending headlines. And we're going to start off with some of the regular persons in the street giving appreciation for some of the benefits that they are getting from a lot of the policies that are being implemented right now. Let's hear.
Melville. I'm the owner of Tracy's Cake Treats and the Life. I've done the WIN program. I've went to the Small Business Starter Plan, and it have taught me a lot to help to benefit with my business. I've learned how to save, how to better manage, and it has helped my business to grow. You know, new strategies, it helped me a lot. I want to say I'm grateful for this, and I would like to encourage other young people out there to take advantage of this program and get involved. It would help to better you to grow your business.
Always a great thing when we can hear our brothers and sisters of the soil benefiting from the great wealth that our nation has, right? Well, recently there was a tragic situation in our country. And again, I want to say condolences to the family and the loved ones, and rising power to our everlasting energy, right? Because it was a tragic situation. And the young couple that would have lost their life recently is what I'm referencing. And there's a lot of back and forth beyond this situation. And we're going to get into some of these details early up in the life so we could get into these headlines and move on to other headlines in this presentation. We're going to hear from none other than Honorable Robin, a part of the APNU, right now.
Oh, guys, sorry. The internet, bear with me. You know how the internet goes. You're paying a whole lot of money, and these things are never up to date, up to standard, you know. So as I was saying, I cannot just leave it to myself and not say something. Everybody knows that I am not game with the police, the guy in the police force. Everybody knows that the guy in the police force and we are not friends. I have members, persons in the guy in the police force. Hi, sweetheart. I rent stuff, who are my family. And they are officers within the force that we know they are very disrespectful, they are rude, they have no sense of direction and all of that. But I want to say to Mr. Mohamed, you went out there this afternoon to assist. You said you were called. The family, somebody reached out to you. I'm hoping that I'm carrying the story straight. You said you were called and you went out there to assist, and you provided 2 boats and all of that. But what I want the public to also know is that I'm a sitting member at the RDC. And at that council, we have the Region 4 RDC, we have the PPP councillors, we have APNU councillors, we have the WIN councillors. And anything the RDC does is a reflection of us and also shows up for us as well. So the RDC would have also chartered a boat for $65,000 on Sunday on behalf of the region, which we are all sitting members. So It's not that people did not go out to help. People did go out to help. Other people did things privately, and assistance was given. All right? So it's not only you come out today to help. People were there from since Sunday. People who heard, and the fatherly instinct kicked in, and the motherly instinct kicked in, and the love within their hearts and all of that. People were out there since Sunday. People were out there Sunday night, Monday. Today is Tuesday, and you were called. But people were out there helping who were not called. The Region 4 RDC, which I am a counselor sitting at, also chartered a boat to assist with finding the deceased. Young men and young women of the village and villages would have gone out there to assist, to give support, to lend a shoulder, lend a hand, to give a hug. You're not the only person. And I'm going to say this too again. I am not for the Guyana Police Force, but they have people within the Guyana Police Force who are respectful. And you
Indeed.
see that young man, that officer who approached you, and the way you carried on him, that was not called for. It shows me something that I do not like. It shows me something that I do not like, because he did not shout at you. He did not disrespect you in any way. And you all know when the police, they're wrong, I would say they're wrong. But in this case, there was no need for that officer to be disrespected like that. There was no need for all of this carrying on. There was no need. And he is one of them that is very, everybody experience is different, but my experiences and things that I know, he is not one of them to be disrespectful to citizens, at least things that I know. And that as the opposition leader, member of parliament, is not everybody within the Guyana Police Force is after you. It's not every officer within the Guyana Police Force is after you.
Well, we got a chance to hear right there from Honorable Robin on the issue. She's trying to clarify, saying, listen, other persons contributed, other persons were there. In fact, we did see a number of persons that were out there. When we had broadcasted the original video, there were quite a few persons that was at the shoreline trying to assist. But I'm guessing they needed equipment so that they could get into the water and check out different things. Honorable Robin making certain highlights about what went down. She's saying, hey, we was out here to body. Right? Karen is saying they are talking like 65,000 is no money. Telling you. Big up yourself, Karen. Thanks for being a frequent traveler over here at Delta 9 Media Plus. Dropping them insightful commentary into the comment section. Rasta Empress, good night. Thanks for tuning in. Rasta Empress saying good night to Delta 9 Media and all the loyal travelers on the flight. Now we're going to listen to the opposition leader side of the situation, right? So we could understand, because we're trying to suss out what really taking place. You know? We hear what Honorable Robin had to say, coming from the AP and UPNC side. Now we're going to hear from Win and the leader of the opposition.
at Unity Beach. In the hours and days that followed, Sunday, Layadisa Waldron, who was pregnant, and her fiance Andre Francis went missing at Unity Beach. In the hours and days that followed, their families and community members desperately searched and prayed for answers. They hoped the government would use the resources available to help in the search. Unfortunately, the search efforts proved futile, leaving loved ones to endure an agonizing wait with little reassurance that every available resource was being deployed. This is how they are putting people first. Had it been relatives of those with PPP connections, we believe there would have been better search efforts. This morning, I personally intervened by making private arrangements to secure boats and support the search operation after I heard from the family that the police said to them yesterday that they have no gas to continue the search. Those boats were dispatched to the Unity area, and shortly thereafter, the bodies of the missing individuals were located and recovered. Thanks to Almighty God. While we are relieved that the families can now begin the painful process of organizing the burials, I must question the government's response. In a country that boasts of unprecedented wealth and trillion-dollar budgets, why were adequate resources not mobilized? Equally troubling is the way the bodies were handled. The bodies remained on the shoreline for approximately 45 minutes.
Yeah, that was a very tacky process. I was wondering to myself what really they was doing. You understand? To the point where persons had to call them out and say, man, y'all not gonna move. Y'all not gonna move them from there now. You understand? Well, we get a chance to hear that the opposition leader is the one that took that extra initiative to personally finance the search process in a manner. But then we heard from Honorable Robin that, listen, they would have done such, or they would have done similar things on Sunday. Well, guess what? We're happy that so many persons were concerned. It would have been even better if this situation had never happened altogether and the young couple was still alive and none of this trauma had to occur. But we're glad that WIN was out there rendering assistance, and we're glad that the PNC and their team was out there rendering assistance. And it's a celebration for us to be able to look at it and see that both of the opposition teams are out there and they're doing something that is going to be beneficial to the persons who would have elected them to represent them. But if there was a bit more unity now, that would have been the icing on top of the cake. But nonetheless, they out and they're doing the work of the people. We get a chance to hear from Honorable Robin. Now let me hear some more of what the leader of the opposition is saying about the situation.
Before being removed. Resources available and no proper training of the authorities on the ground to properly handle such situations. This reactive government sits back and waits until the opposition calls them out. This heartbreaking incident has exposed once again the gap between the government's photo ops and catchy headlines and the reality experienced by ordinary Guyanese. The people of Guyana deserve a response system that is prepared, coordinated, compassionate, and capable of acting when lives are at stake. Nothing works properly in this country. My sincere condolences to the families of the deceased once again.
Definitely condolences to the family and all the loved ones, right? Rough times. We all think about it, Delta 9 travelers. We all think about this situation. Drop it into the comment section or call it in. Let's have some meaningful conversation about this and other headlines that we're definitely going to discuss. The hotline number is scrolling on the bottom of your screen right now. Well, recently, I'm telling you, the former leader of the opposition, Honorable Mr. Norton, came out and did a bombshell interview, which I'm hoping that he continues the pattern of coming on Cams TV at least once a week if he can, if his busy schedule would allow, and do presentations so that persons can hear directly from him and get the views coming from persons in authority about certain things. Well, after that interview, I'm telling you, different members and former members came out and had a number of things to say. Plus, you don't know the send out the brigade for smear and tear, right? There's a lot going on right now in the political spectrum, and we're going to get into some of that. Big up to yourself, Uncle Freddie, and everybody else that was a part of the panel. We're going to hear right now from Mr. Lowe and the former mayor.
People trust you. Let me say this much, Leonard. There's a third new in the PNC. That's the first thing I want to make.
Very, you have to put very in.
Very new, yeah, in the PNC. Because I can recall 2020 election and other scenario
He was nowhere around.
Yeah, including Terence Campbell. And you can't talk about the ideology and the what you make mention, the vision of the People's National Congress reform. Many of them came recently in the PNC, and we have seen that who came recently, they get seats at council level and they walk over. That took place a few weeks ago. So when you say that people don't share the philosophical or the views or the vision of the PNC, is wrong. A leader, people tend to say that the leader can't do it alone. So let me put vice versa. President Ali can't do everything he alone, but he's the president. A leader, when you take up that role of a leader of a national political party with a theme, he or she must be able to function on the vision and the ideology of the party and not to move away from the party. For example, if you look at the People's Progressive Party, Civic, where you have newcomers, crossovers last election, but what happened? You see them in any major position? No, right? You can't throw away, I will use common and English here. You can't throw away your loyal member for newcomers. I am not hurt for any position. I am hurting because I know since I'm in the PNC, I have never accustomed to this kind of haywire leadership and decision making. You have a CC, which is the executive arm of the party, right?
Well, hear this. If you are to run an election, right, with these two banners sitting down on your team, and they're supposed to be helping you to campaign, is it any surprise that we get the results that we saw? Is it any surprise? Did this attitude start yesterday, day before yesterday, or last August? Right before the elections. When this start? How long now the leader of the PNC and APNU is dealing with this kind of problem, undermining his authority and undermining, stymieing certain progress in the party by other persons who are disgruntled? How long this going on, and how many other persons are silently doing things like this right now? Yeah, see the kind of hurdles. Karen is saying, what a disgrace on the police department. No gas for searching for those persons. It's so sad when you think about it, for real, Karen, because they should got some type of Coast Guard, or they should got some type of department that deals with things like that. I mean, you're talking about the coastal region, right? And we're talking about the land of many waters. How come we ain't got enough boat? And we's one of the fastest growing economy, one of the wealthiest nations in the world. All of these slogans and titles. But in the land of many waters, we can get gas for the boat to find persons. It's really, you know, it's really hard when you think about it. You know. Zibuya! Thanks for being a part of the live. Zibuya is shouting out all the frequent travelers in the chat. Big up yourself. Thanks for being a part of the live. Zibuya. Do we hear some more from the farmer mayor and former member of the PNC?
Don't be a yes person to certain decision. You must be able to stand up and to able to give your view, and that's what make PNC a democratic party. When you can give your views and we can still be friends. We share political views. So when you come to Dexter, I have great respect for all my Guyanese brothers and sisters. But when you come to the People's National Congress reform, I believe many of them need to learn more about the groups and know how to the party function. Look, election finished. General Council, you didn't call. Congress is due this year.
Yeah, but you said the party is very democratic and,
Yeah.
and the arrogant and not calling.
Exactly, that is what I'm saying. Like I said,
You mean if function correctly?
that's right.
What you
If
mean.
function
Oh, okay,
correctly,
okay.
these things will happen because the constitution of the PNC outlined these things, Leonard, and viewers. There's a constitution that outlined when to call general council, when Congress must be held, when a leader stepped down, what should happen, and so on. Like Mr. Granger, when he left the party, there was a 5-member committee put in place to run the party until a successive leader took up that position. You know, you have the chairman, your chairman, leave this party and went to the PPP and endorsed the PPP. That tell me something wrong.
Elson Low.
It says a lot about what's going on inside the party. I'm telling you, there's a lot. But let's hear directly from who? The leader of the PNC. That's how we do it over here on Delta 9 Media. We want to hear as many aspects of what's going on so we could try to suss out the real details.
70s and 80s, a lot of people switching to the PNC. You would recall that up until we lost in 1992, there were many who purported to be PNC because they did not see an opportunity at the time of a change of government. That is on the PPP side. And so many high-profile, long-serving members of the PPP came to the PNC. Now, put it in context. You now have oil, and there are a lot of persons who want to access resources. The government's approach has been, if you're not supportive of them in any fashion, then you will not share in the oil wealth. And I believe that has been a major factor pushing people towards the PPP. Let me.
Okay, this is a financial thing. That's what the leader is saying. Big up yourself, Sherwin. Thanks for being a part of the live. Karen is saying Guyana doesn't have any border security. Anyone can come in and out of Guyana. That's a rough reality, I'm telling you. Rough reality. Big up yourself to all the travelers in the live. Almost 200 persons in the live with us right now. And we only been here for a little over 20 minutes. Thumbs up the live. Give me a pong, buddy. It don't cost you nothing to hit that thumbs up button, right? And if you're looking for a way to support Delta 9 Media, become a channel member. The barcode is right above my head.
say this. It's not a process that new. I don't want to call names, but I remember just after we lost in 92, by the time we were ready to go to the 97 elections, I remember one person whose name I wouldn't call said, by me and die in poverty, I go into the PPP, I got to make money. And that person went. He's now in the back of the thing and not as active as he used to be. I make this point to point out to you that there's always going to be a pull factor. That is not to say that there aren't problems inside the PNC. The PNC has been an institution since 1955, and it has always had its problems. I think one of the things that we need to note is that when we came to power in 2015, a lot of new persons came to the party, many of whom became member of parliament and now left. Many of them were not members of the PNC at the time. So they are not schooled in the PNC. They didn't come supporting an ideology and a mission. They came for what was there at the time. Some of them are now in reign, some of them are at the PPP. In politics, your core follow a vision. Your core follow an ideology. We have argued in the last election that we believe the fundamental problem in Guyana is that the government is not serving the people of Guyana. And therefore, we advocated a people-centered development strategy aimed at saying to people, we're going to put resources into your hands to develop, etc. I believe it's still a profound philosophy to the extent that the PPP itself tried to adopt it, though their actions run counter to this approach of putting resources in the hands of the people. So I do believe there's going to be a number of persons who went to the PPP not based on any commitment to it, etc., but in the rush to get resources and to dig yourself out of poverty. In fact, one person who left actually said to me, if there's 1 or 2 seats in parliament, he should get that seat because this is only means of existence, which tells you that it has an economic underpinning. And so, yes, people.
Man want seat, man want this, duh. People leaving because they want to go and pursue studies. This person resigning, that person leaving, this person doing this person doing that. And then when they see the results, they wonder how come you end up with that results. It's not rocket science.
Would have left. There are different reasons for which they would have left. Of course, the easiest thing to do is to cite leadership as the key issue. What none of them is saying is what was done in leadership that caused them to leave. And there's nothing that I can pinpoint that the leadership did that caused it. I think it is more the pull factor of economic resources and wanting to join the bandwagon to ensure that they survive. Of course, it is proven historically to be a false premise because many people went to the PPP and only that inner core benefits what we call the family, friends, and favorites. And so the movement is on, but I want to make this final point before I close. Up until we were going to elections in 1992, everybody felt that, look, you are going to be going back into power because a lot of people had come with height, etc. The truth is, many of them did not have the loyalty, and we know what the results produced.
And there was an individual like there, but let me just clear this up and let me keep it moving. And I don't carry feelings, my brother. Wherever you say, I expressing yourself, that's your feelings, and I can't vex with you. I respect it same way, but let me just clear this up and get this out of the way. I was never part of the Win Party, my brother. I never supported the Win Party on the political campaign, my brother. Me and Azadine was friend, and we followed one scunt. But what I could tell you is that I used to support the coalition government. And you know what they did for me? Nothing. Nothing. Never do nothing for me. And I used to run in all over behind them up and down, make Mickey Mouse in myself. Not even a JOB them in give to small man. Yeah, bro. And you still in 2026 running down the coalition government and thinking that well they still good. By when you see so, you and Aubrey Norton is drinking buddies. Because the only thing Aubrey Norton leading people for do is get drunk. Invite you by sweet pint, give you a cup of shot of high wine or a cup of shot of flipping Eldorado and make you feel nice. And when you're done, you stop ready, you jump in your vehicle and crash up your vehicle upon the road. That's the only thing that man to lead people. That man can't lead this country, my boy. And you're vexing because I supporting the cop. Yo, let me clear this here. What the PPP have done for me as a small man, I thankful and I appreciate it. Remember, I never run down millions like, oh, yeah, talking about billions and billions and contracts and all these things, you know. Me never run behind contracts, you know I run for as a ghetto youth. A job, a job that the coalition government never give to me. As a public servant within the system, my brother. And let me tell you this, how people is kind of with them complaining, kind of nice, and the public sector nice. Yeah, and if I only know the public sector so nice some all them years ago, I would have been a public servant for many years. Coming up people for stress me out and hurt me and tell me do this and do that, out of me blasted brains. Guyana nice, the place nice. I mean got billions. You say people ain't got nothing. Me got billions, but what no. I got a home of my own, I got my own land, I got my own bits and pieces. Getting myself together. Watch, everything don't come one time, everything is take time about. It's like, man, I can't believe you as a young entrepreneur looking for progress in life and you running behind these idiots. Coalition, bro. RB's B dog.
I telling you, different views coming from different persons. A lot of persons got a lot of different things and a lot of different reasons why they are making certain choices. But guess what? We're having got this conversation for some of them.
Not in the party to see the dynamics of the party. You should have nothing to say because you do not know what is going on. You know what is going on in whatever party you supporting. Go and speak on it. Go and speak on it. Leave us alone. You all say we have nothing. Oh, we drop back to 12 seats. Oh, Abby didn't cause us drop back into 12 seats. Abby didn't cause that. I don't care what nobody say. The people caused that. The people themselves caused that. Because Aubrey worked. I worked. Terrence worked. Psycho worked. All them people from all across the country worked. We all worked. We campaigned, we begged, we quarreled, we fight, we tried our best, but you all did not see what we had to offer. And you all talking about a man where y'all don't leave the man and leave us alone. Leave the man and leave us alone. The right people will come. The right people will work with us. The right people will vote with us. The right vote for us. The right people will guide us because we don't want corruption in the party. We don't want corrupt practices in the party. We don't want it. We don't want it. You all want the country shut down? Come out and shut the country down. And you want protest? Come out and do it. Protest was going on every Tuesday.
Hey, Sherwin, like you there for kicks hour. Sherwin say he's a up and down. I tell you, big up yourself nonetheless, Sherwin. Big up yourself. Big up yourself. Yeah, boy. Karen is saying, what a way to talk about someone and drinking. My God, have mercy. Ay, ay, ay. Big up to all the frequent travelers right now in the chat. Big up to everyone that's in the live right now. Maybe here's some more coming in from members in the PNC.
front of GCOM for a clean voters list, things which should be important to the citizens of Guyana. You all ain't coming out and supporting, so why you all keep bringing this up? Oh, the man weak, the man weak. Me not interested how weak the man is. I know the man got a brains. But the leadership of the party is determined by the groups of the party, not people coming off the street. And there is no way Mr. Norton can manipulate that. Because he is not running the election. No, not one candidate is running that election. Oh, he's weak. Oh, he ain't got leadership styles. Oh, he ain't this. Hello. Ali had leadership styles. Ali had leadership styles. Ali had leadership styles. Nigel Hughes had leadership styles. This man is Mohamed got leadership styles. But you know what? Their people stayed with them and supported them and worked with them. But no, not we. We got to see clothes. We got to see your social life. We got to see what color panty you're wearing. We got to see what color buckle, who you're sleeping with. That is not your problem. The problem is we need somebody to get the work done. And getting the work is not protest. Getting the work is not shutting the country down. Getting the work done is make sure every citizen gets what they deserve. That is what getting the work means.
Note of that editorial where I make mention of the leader of the PNCR must resign and go his way, to allow the party to breathe, to regroup, and refocus on their constituents, and also to regroup in all the regions. I have received a lot of calls from Georgia and New York from supporters of the People's National Congress reform who actually share the same sentiment. It's too long at this point of time. We have seen the then local government election in 2023, a massive drop within constituency of the People's National Congress reform. We have seen the general election, which from 31 seats, we belong to 12 seats in the National Assembly, and that's worried me. Yet I resigned from the People's National Congress reform. I still share concern of that great party, the only party with a vibrant democracy, which I believe that is deteriorating every day because of leadership. And that is what I echo in my editorial.
Elson, you that big splash that Ubach got that Norton must go.
Well,
With Norton go?
one of the things I've always said is, and I repeat it, is that best boss I ever had. I think I learned a lot under him. But what I would say is, I think it is important for the party really and its leadership, of course, the leader as well, to evaluate whether they have the right skill set for the situation. I think really the ability to look closely at statistics, understand clearly what's going on, pay attention to the numbers. I think you need leadership that is a bit more focused on that. And I'll carry through some numbers as we go along just to give you some perspective. Because otherwise, strategy becomes not so much strategy, but throwing darts at the wall, hoping, and so on. And I think, while there are certain environments in which certain leaders would have skill sets that suit that environment, I don't think there's any evidence that the skill sets that leadership has right now suit this environment. So it is not really appropriate, I think.
Mayor Narain, you have for those who are following. I saw a piece.
A policy, not with a commitment to a vision. And so once you lost government in 2020, you found the situation where many of them were showing their true colors. And there were some who were selected to go to Parliament who did not have an history and involvement in the PPP. And when you look, you will see those that are leaving number largely among that bunch. On the one hand, when there's a dynamic pushing you to power, and there is also the dynamic of those in power self-destructing, what you find is that there are two trends at the time. One which says you're not likely to get power, and one which pushes hard for power. I believe those two trends are operating. When you add to that the way the government is mismanaging Guyana, I believe once you get the right combination of people, you're going to return to power. For me personally, I have said that I will continue to be leader of the party, but that by the next election in 2030, I'm going to be 73, and I don't see myself running in that election. I believe our task is to breed a generation of politicians. I was very careful in the selection of the 12 as I consulted people on how I select them. But that by the next election in 2030, I'm going to be 73, and I don't see myself running in that election. I believe our task is to breed a generation of politicians. I was very careful in the selection of the 12 as I consulted people on how I select them, so that we produce 12 members of parliament that can stand up to the task. But it is not restricted to the 12 members of parliament. I've said, for instance, that we have to widen the base of leadership, have more people involved. I see some young people that would have come into the process that can be presidential candidates in 2030. Now, I've seen in some places, and I know some people are pushing the narrative that I endorse this person and I endorse that person. I want to say this clearly. I haven't endorsed anyone. What I'm disposed to do is prepare a platform for all the potential leaders to blossom, and then through a process, one of them become presidential candidate. I want to say this. I believe in democracy. I like democracy, but there are some dangers. When I won the leadership of the party in a free and fair election, which I was not in charge of, many there were who decided that they have to destroy me and the PNC. And they went down that road. I'm going to guard against a political fight, at the end of which you have factions going in every direction. One of the hallmarks of the PNC prior to me becoming leader was that when you have an internal election and the elections are over, you work together to build a party. I supported Carl Greenidge and Winston Murray against David Granger, but once the thing was settled, I worked for the party and to ensure success. Unfortunately, after my election as leader of the PNCR, there were those, many of whom were new, who did not work in that way. And so we saw the advent of a new situation in the PNC, which I will battle to counter, because it cannot serve the PNC any good.
I'm telling you. So let's hope that after this Congress, which I hope they keep the Congress privately, even though it would make great content, I hope they keep the Congress privately, so that all the back and forth and the bickering and stuff like that don't make it way into the public spectrum and cause more problems like the last Congress, right? Rasta Empress is saying these politicians, MPs, go around the world in a few minutes speaking. To the end, nothing is solved. No protests or rambling will stop it. We need a united front without biased minds. Powerful point and a very insightful comment coming in from the moderator, Rasta Empress. I'm telling you, it makes a lot of sense because unified, the opposition unified is the only way that they got any possibility of winning the elections against the present government. If they divided, it's not a possibility that they could win. I mean, the proof is in the pudding. We saw what happened September 1st. Greetings to Nariana, one of our insightful moderators. He's saying a set of blah, blah, blah. I'm telling you, a whole lot going on, a whole lot. Big up to everyone flying. Big up yourself. Nariana, thanks for being a moderator right here on Delta 9 Media. It's a Truth Thursdays, and the truth sometimes can be a funny, funny thing. A funny, funny thing, right? So we got a chance to hear from the leader of the opposition, the former leader of the opposition, members from Team Win. We got members from the PNC. What are your views, though, Delta 9 travelers? Call it in. The number is on your screen right now, scrolling, and drop it into the comment section. We're live. Let's have some right thinking, insightful discourse about a lot of very important and trending headlines. Well, we all know tomorrow is what? Tomorrow is the big day, boy. We've been calling for it. We've been waiting for it. Tomorrow is the big day. Tomorrow is Parliament, and there's a number of bills that are going to be discussed, and we're going to get into some of them details right now, because guess what? It's very important. There's a number of things that are definitely going to have a lot of far-reaching implications that are going to be debated on the floor. So we're going to get into some of those details right here on Delta 9 Media, right? And who better to hear about what these bills are going to be than the Honorable Attorney General himself. Let's hear what the rundown is going to be for the parliamentary sitting tomorrow on Friday.
6 important pieces of legislation will be tabled and read for the first time at that sitting. And those bills are the Guyana Development Bank Bill, the Hire Purchase Amendment Bill, the Security Interest in Movable Property Amendment and Validation Bill, the Depreciating Property Sale Order Bill, Sexual Offences Amendment Bill, and Former President's Benefits and Other Facilities Bill. Now I want to spend the rest of the program in explaining briefly what each bill is about. So let's start with the Guyana Development Bank Bill. You would recall that in our manifesto and on the elections campaign for the September 1st regional and general elections, the PPP Civic Party promised the establishment of a development bank. We made that promise after, of course, we consulted in the preparation of our manifesto. And we decided to address a problem that has been lingering for a long time, and that is the inability of ordinary Guyanese or a certain segment of our population to access finances easily from lending facilities in the country.
A big problem. Because watch.
Persons were not able to produce.
You know, as one attorney general, one of the biggest problems is that certain ethnicities got even more hurdles that they got to jump through. So while that is being tabled on the floor, could there be perimeters put in place, right? So that this hurdle right here is something that persons don't got to deal with no
What
more.
I do know for
This.
sure is that there is some bias. There is some bias in some of the institutions. There is some bias in some of the organizations whereby you see a proliferation of other ethnicities. So you, for example, look, and I know you have an issue with the banking institutions, but for Afro-Guyanese to set up businesses and for them to get available funding, there are greater hurdles that they face.
Right? There's some greater hurdles that we face. So when we're talking about this new financial instrument that's going to be used by the government, take away them hurdles from a part of it. Put certain things in place so that it's a level playing field. So that everyone will have access to funding, right? Hopefully, that's the case. Hopefully, that's the process. Hopefully, that's what will be done, right? Because we know that the hurdles exist.
To secure a loan. Persons were unable to pay the interest rates that these loans attract. Persons were unable to fulfill other requirements. For example, doing a project profile of what you intend to borrow the money for. This development bank is intended to address that class of persons and those issues that those persons confront.
Let's hope it's not a class and a caste system type of setup going on. We hope that that's not the case, right? Because we're dealing with these hurdles already on the ground. Rai, what's going on, Rai? Saying good night to everyone in the chat. Big up yourself, Rai. Thanks for tuning in to Delta 9 Media. Thanks for being a part of this Truth Thursday presentation. Rastama, what's going on? PNC needs more united. That is the problem. Brothers, Jah live, one love. Big up yourself, Rastaman. Thanks for being a part of the International Digital Connection. Zibuya saying, as long as the ABC countries are part of our democracy in Guyana, we will never have a free and fair elections because they pick the people who they can control. I'm telling you. If they pick the people who they can control, then it seems like if that might be kind of the reality that we're seeing on the ground right now, because we're seeing a controlled opposition and we're seeing persons in positions of power who a lot of times are acting contrary to these positions that persons would have put them in to represent. We're seeing a lot of foolishness going on with the infrastructural development as far as the return on investment. Sometimes we gotta ask ourselves if persons is taking this seriously or they just taking what they could get from the situation. You know? Big up yourself, Zabuya, and thanks for dropping insightful commentary into the comment section. Chandel is saying good evening to the Delta 9 family. Big up yourself, Chandel. Let me hear some more about what's to come in Parliament tomorrow. Then we can hear from the opposition too, It's important.
which have prevented them from accessing easy finances. This development bank is specifically designed to target the small and medium-sized businesses or intended businesses. The small furniture manufacturer, the small poultry farmer or cash crop farmer, the person who wants to start a small restaurant.
Okay. That's some of the details coming in from the government right now, the persons who are in these positions of power to make sure that, listen, everyone has access to the resources in the country, right? Let me hear what's going on from Team Green. They got some insights on some of these bills that are very, very interesting. Let's get some of these details.
If now, he's doing everything. Ordinary man. You don't build facilities and then people can't access the health care. So finally should look, Coretta, tonight I really want to let Guyanese understand this government is wicked. Irfan knows this is his second and last storm. Irfan now, he's doing everything. He's coming to the they're coming to the National Assembly on Friday. You know what they're coming for? To reverse what we put as safeguards in place to protect the monies, the treasury of this country. They are coming to reverse it, to put back the pension and the benefits of former presidents to what Jack Dale had put in place.
Open the floodgates so they can spend, they can do
anything. So what David Granger put in place to say, look, man, $2 million is good enough for you to enjoy your life.
They're removing that
They're
cap.
now saying, don't cap it. You give me because it's an oil rich. But Guyanese was long, but too late. Guyanese is sick to wake up because they cry about the coalition increasing ministers' salaries by 50% and all that. Of course, that was justified many times in the public. But here and now, after Irfan done secure the seat, it didn't reach a year after he's securing his pension. Guyanese, you know, nobody said tech though.
Well, you know, Vince Roy, we have to let our viewers know too that when the coalition ministers got the 50% increase that year, they never got another increase. They never got another increase for the rest of the time. But every time there's an increase announcement by the presidents, from the presidents right down collecting the increase. And mind you, they too got the 50% that they took. So every time there's an increase, they're getting double and triple and 4 and 5 times what the ordinary man will get. And so you know what continues to happen? The bridge and the gap between the rich and the poor will continue to widen. Guyanese people must know this. Every time an increase in salaries is announced, every single minister plus the president receives that. And they talk about their love and their care. You know, very often I would say we would be happy to see this caring go to another level where let some of the ministers come and exchange their salary with some ordinary citizens. 1 month, 10 of you could do it. The next month, 10 of you and not the other 10 could do it. The other month, the presidents and the vice president could do it. And let's see if you
One love, Jeffrey. Thanks for tuning into the live.
You can live on a salary of $160,000, $89,000, $97,000. Let's see if you can live on that. But these are the people who pretended to care, you know, and they always come to the stable when the horse done run out the stable. And so this benefit that this uncapping of the presidential benefit will only benefit how many? How many presidents we have alive? Jagdeo, David Arthur Granger,
Donald Ramotar.
Donald Ramotar, Sam Hines, and the presidents now. 5 of them.
So we getting a good analysis before, because tomorrow we know it's going to be debated thoroughly on the floor. But this is one of the bills that is going to be debated tomorrow. They're going to make certain adjustments to what's going on with the packages awarded to former presidents, right? Something that's definitely going to be heavily debated tomorrow in Parliament. We can get into some more of that.
A natural way to stay ready, baby. 'Cause I'm ready for you, Mr. C.
The ultimate male supplement, men's total wellness formula, packed with essential nutrients for men's health.
She'll call you Mr. C.
No matter where in the world, we love Guyana. What are your colors? How do you represent? I love Guyana. Order yours today. We ship worldwide. Delta 9 Media.
One love, one people, the mission complete. One love, one flag, one nation, right? Under the stars, divine presence in the sky. Unity, no one, let the children thrive. Power to the people, we keep hope alive.
Yep. Delta 9 Media, big up yourself. To every single person that's in the live right now, if you can hear me and you can hear me clearly, did you take a couple of seconds to make sure that you thumbs up the live? It don't cost you nothing. Thumbs up the live, buddy. Thumbs up the live and share it. Share it if you can with persons so that they can get these important headlines on their timeline as well. All right. Zabuya is saying, who's going to stop the bill from passing? Nobody, right? Because the government got a majority. So it's just going to be thoroughly debated so that persons could understand what's going in to what's going to be implemented, right? Jem, thanks for being a part of the live. Let's get some insight now. Some more insight, I should say, coming in on this particular bill that is going to be debated tomorrow from the former finance minister, the Honorable Mr. Winston Jordan.
Is related to salary. His salary in 2006, recall, was $223,783. But between 2006 and 2011, his salary shot up by 500% to $1,304,503 a month.
500%. That's a crazy salary increase right there. 500%. But hey, it's good if you're gonna receive it, right?
The greatest increase in salary, perhaps in the history of this country, for any single individual over a 5-year period. 500% increase between 2006 and 2011. At a time when, during the same period, minimum wage increased by a paltry 37.5%. during that same period, 2006 to 2011. Minimum wage increased from $26,069 to $35,657, a paltry 37.5% increase. So now his salary, his pension.
Greetings to one of our frequent travelers, Laureen. Thanks for being a part of the live.
Will be based on $1,304,503 a month. But he's satisfied. He's not satisfied. He's not satisfied. He then calls to be changed the Pensions Precedent Act. Under that act, the old act, a president was entitled to 7/8 of his salary on demitting office. So you see, he couldn't afford to get 7/8 of $223,783. He will then be getting 7/8 of $1,304,503. But he's not satisfied with that. He's not satisfied with that. He caused to be changed the Pensions Precedent Act. A new act was promulgated in which the former president will get 7/8, not of the salary that he left when he exited office, but 7/8 of the current president in office. 7/8 of the current president in office. Can you think about it? No public servant, no person in this country gets a pension that is calculated on the current salary of the person and in the office that they left. And every public servant and everybody else, any increase in pension that they are given, it's given at the mercy of the government. Because the government, you can left your job at $100,000. Your pension is calculated at $100,000 as a public servant. And you could be getting that pension for the next 5 years. If the government don't take pity on you and adjust your pension for inflation or for any increase that might be given to the public servants or part thereof. Not with former presidents. Their pension increase is enshrined in law. It's enshrined in law. And so, every time Ali takes the across the board increase that they're giving to them poor public servants, former president's pension automatically goes up. So if today Ali is getting more than $3 million per month tax-free, every former president in this country, and there are about 4 of them who are still alive, every former president will be getting 7/8 of $3 million a month.
So we get a chance to hear from the former finance minister about some of these benefit packages that the former presidents are awarded. I think if it's one of the wealthiest nations in the world and the funds are there to afford it, why not? But make sure you're doing the work for the people. Make sure that persons in the country are able to see some semblance of this same affluence, right? Let's hope that other persons can reap some of these benefits as well. And it's not just something that the presidents are going to be enjoying. Let's hope that this wealth that our nation has is able to be enjoyed by all persons that are in the country. We understand the president is going to be the president. So the president is going to have a presidential treatment, which is respected and expected. But what y'all think about what Honorable Mr. Jordan was explaining right there? Well, right now we're going to get a chance to catch up with His Excellency himself out and about doing the works that will award him these benefits that Honorable Mr. Jordan was just speaking on.
Government service to every household and every household to have sustainable supply. So they're going to look at that. I'm very pleased that in this weather, so many persons from all the villages came out to these meetings. The team at Jawala, whether it was Cameron, Jawala, Parima, all of the villages. In Region 7 proper, we have 200 pending housing applications that will be cleared within the next 12 months. "69 titles are ready to be uplifted, and 23 of 45 families were able to inspect their houses. We are also very pleased that we have finally gotten the letter from the Tushao in Warweta, giving us the 10 ownership to 10 acres of land, so we can now build the state-of-the-art hospital for Offamas. And now we'll proceed to the implementation of that project, the new state-of-the-art hospital. As you're aware also, we've already turned the sod for the new state-of-the-art hospital, the 50-bed hospital with a 24-hour lab that will cost $7.6 billion with CT scans, birthing suite, pharmacy, and everything right here in Bartica. $7.6 billion investment. For the Ministry of Home Affairs, we have examined the request for support in transport infrastructure to fight crime, and we are going to deploy in total 5 additional ATVs, 2 additional boats, 2 pickup, and other essential pieces of transport infrastructure to the police in Region 7 to help them to further carry out their duties.
Well, we got a chance to catch up right there with His Excellency in Region 7, right? On presidential duties. What are your views, Delta 9 travelers? Call it in. The hotline number is scrolling on the screen right now. Honorable Mr. Todd had this to say.
We're not afraid of that. The PPPC, we have not gone yet. We have not scrutinized 1 year yet of Irfan Ali's spending as president of this country. Do you know that, Guyana? Do you know that, Guyana? So while they boast, while they puff their chests and make it feel as though they're a government that has always been very responsible, let us get to the 1 year of Irfan Ali's spending as president of this country. Let us get to that. We will not get to that till we meet to 2020. And we're not getting there. They're not getting there. They're fighting. They're doing everything in their power to stipend, to prevent that committee from being activated and from scrutinizing of their spendings in this country. And we will only be able to see how responsible they have been in their spending when they're scrutinized. When they're scrutinized. I go to the second issue. The second issue, which seems to be raising its ugly head in Guyana.
Mariana said, how does one increase the minimum when it's already the minimum? I'm telling you. That right there is a good question. Clarence, what's going on? Clarence is saying, good evening to Delta 9. Blessings to all. Big up yourself, Clarence. Thanks for being a part of the live presentation. Rasta Empress is saying, Jesus Christ of Nazareth. This is some serious money being equated. I'm telling you. Nariana is saying, that's the thing. They do no work, but always increase their pay. Ah, boy. When you're in authority, you got the authority to do so, right, Nariana? I guess you will. Rasta Empress is saying, let me tell you what happened to me. I ain't get me 100,000 up to this date. The first or the second one? Because if it's the first one, that's crazy. If it's the second one, that's still ridiculous, you understand? Because by now, you should have been able to receive the cash grant. I have not received my 100,000 up to date because I don't need a bank account. So what can I do about it? Well, to be honest with you, the persons who don't have a bank account, those are the persons that are getting a bit of hurdles in receiving the finances. Hopefully at some point they start to give out checks, and then you'll be able to get a check for that amount. So you'll be able to, get a cash grant just like everybody else. But I'm thinking very soon they're gonna start to give out checks. What they're trying to do is make more persons get into the digital system. So they want persons to create bank accounts, which you will need eventually to be able to do certain kind of commerce in the country, right? Big up yourself, Rastaman. That's the one saying, please and thanks for the 100,000. If you asking the wrong person, remember now, the 100,000 is come if you behave yourself, Rastaman. You behave yourself, buddy. Remember the president done say, if you behave yourself, that's when the 100,000 gonna pass, All right. It's a serious time. Rasta Empress is saying, I get my 100,000 through my second account in 3 days. Rastaman, I see the Empress is highlighting. You might just set up something so that you could, get the process moving a bit faster, right? Now we're talking about this right here. This conversation about people buying tennis roll and buying one tennis roll and this and that and all kind of thing. I gonna be real with you. This one tennis roll thing, and people buying one tennis roll, two tennis roll, and a dab of butter, 2 tennis roll and an ounce of butter, ounce of nut butter, ounce of cheese. It's not now, you know. It's not now. So I seen there's a big explosion in a lot of different conversations about it. But people buying 1 tennis roll and me giving it a pass for says okay for this thing going on for so long. Or me saying it for, you know, persons must now turn a blind eye to the high level of cost of living and say, oh, cost of living high all the time. No. What I'm trying to highlight is the fact that persons going through it for a long time now. And it seems like if the persons that are in positions to remedy it, they ain't remedying it. I'll show you something. Watch. See, there's me old man standing up in front of we shop little days before it bill over and all them things. First set up there for the shop, right? So I telling you, I used to sell 1 tennis roll, 2 tennis roll, ounce of butter, ounce of cheese, right? So big up to my mother, my father who aided in me having an experience that was different from that. You understand? To where I was on the selling side of it, so I could stand up a day like today and say, hey, this thing going on for a long time. This amount of poverty is a part of our communities for a long time. And the rule that me old man would left with me, because I used to be in the shop enough time selling and them thing after school, right? The rule was this. If a person come for buy 1 tennis roll or 2 tennis roll and them thing, and ask for some butter, or you got cheese we cut from an ounce and them thing, don't just give them the tennis roll like that. Give them it with a dab or something. That was the rule, right? So we used to sell a set of single tennis roll like that. You understand me? So this thing going on now for more than 20 years. More than 20 years. Persons is buying single tennis roll, ounce of cheese, and them thing in GT. What's going on the ground? Who's the persons left into these positions of power to make sure that they put some type of hold on cost of living? They put policies in place that's going to help persons to earn more. We're going to analyze what's going on, you know. It's a True Thursday. So we're going to analyze the correlation between countries that have high level of religion and high level of poverty. So we're going to see if this religious perspective of the populace follows the poverty index globally. It's True Thursdays. We need these numbers. Numbers don't lie, and we're going to get into some of this. But before we jump into those headlines, when I'm going to show you the correlation between poverty and religion and the importance of your worldview and the experience that you're going to have that you're going to call life. We're going to jump into some of them. It's True Thursday. So let me hear some from Honorable Amansa right now.
Ranging survey and found the most disturbing thing that in some communities, people are so poor that there's something in Ghana we call a tennis roll. You may know it as a dinner roll.
A dinner roll, yes, we call it a dinner roll.
It's sold.
You call it a tennis roll in Ghana? Why do you call it a tennis roll?
Because it's not quite a dinner roll. It tastes differently. I promise when you come to Guyana, I will tell you what it is, and you'll like it.
Please, yes.
It's slightly larger than a dinner roll.
Okay.
And it's not quite bread because it tastes differently. And it really is a staple here in Guyana. If you're Guyanese, you know about tennis rolls. And they're usually sold in a packet, much like the dinner rolls you may find in the market.
Yes.
But in some communities, things are so bad that people are going to the shopkeepers at the corner shops to ask them to disaggregate that bag of rolls so that they can maybe have two or one because they cannot afford the entire roll, the bag of rolls. And that is what I want people to understand is happening here in Guyana. People are starving. Guyanese, the ordinary Guyanese, cannot afford 3 square meals per day.
I know the crazy
Because
thing about
the
it.
problem that this government has.
You know the crazy thing about it? Back then, when I telling y'all, people buying one tennis roll back then, you know it was $80 for a bag of tennis roll back then? $80 was for one of them 5 bag of tennis roll. Now it's $100 for 5 slices of bread. I think I could be wrong about the price. I stand corrected if I am. But back then was $80 for a bag of tennis roll. 125 or 140. I'm going back in my mind trying to remember the prices. But it wasn't 140, it was 120 something. 125 or 130, something around there. Was for a bag of bread. Bakewell bread. Right? So, since tennis roll was $80 a bag or $80 for 5, the poverty was gripping certain communities. Y'all understand why after studying the introduction into politics at university and understanding certain things, I said to myself, but this might not be the direction right now for me. Because if the fulcrum of politics is the maintaining of this system, the maintaining of this class system we're going on right here, you hear the Attorney General just highlighted the different policies that are going to be in place and which class is going to be for and this, that, and the third. So if I'm helping to maintain this system that is perpetuated 20 years of people buying one tennis roll and living in poverty in certain communities, right? What use is there and what sense is there for my young life? That's how I think about it. So I went into entrepreneurship and expanded upon the directions of my parents, which I have no regrets about. You hear what I'm telling you? And that's some of my truth as we analyze what's going on right now when it relates to the truth about the high cost of living underground in Guyana. Who's in the chat right now? Let me see what persons are talking about in the chat. Nariana is saying that I pass tennis roll. That's why I know Delta 9. I tell you, hey, real thing. You can't be too Bakewell with a tip top. Too Bakewell with a tip top. One is the top, one is the bottom, a tip top in the middle. Look, I remember them Bakewell tennis roll used to be soft. Says two Bakewell and a tip top, smash the black. And a Topico milk. Who remember Topico milk? Topico peanut punch. That was my favorite. I didn't too like the chocolate. This is when it used to come in the arm in that plastic bag. Right? Rastaman is saying that come from way back, brother. Yeah. Big up your old man for that Delta. Yeah. I'm telling you. The things that me old man can teach me as a youth man. I walk with it even today. And it has helped to separate me from a lot of situations and put me in some positions in this life. Right? Listen to your parents. If you can hear me and you can hear me clearly, listen and pay attention to them. Because the things that they're going to teach you and the things you can learn from just observing them, life changing. Life changing. Rasta Empress is saying Delta 9 people buy $100 pack of salt biscuit. It's crazy. Yeah. Never had that life. It's very sad seeing we have so much wealth in this country. Real thing, Lorraine. There's a real thing because, look, it's real. People experiencing this for years. For years. So when I hear people talking about it, I say, wait, serious? Since I was a little boy in primary school, people buying one tennis roll, half pound of sugar, half pint of rice, quarter pint of oil. Yeah. Bantu King is saying, blessings Delta 9 and family members. Big up yourself, Bantu. What's going on? Nariana saying, the truth is the truth and nothing ain't a lie about it because it's rooted within itself. Real thing. Lorraine is saying Chinese selling 2 slices and a little butter for $100. $240 for a bag now, Delta. $240. Wow. 1880 is $160. Going well. It's more than twice the price, almost 3 times the price, right? 80, yeah. 1880 is 160 and 80 is 240. 3 times the price. So the price went up 300%, right? 200% or 300%. My maths could be a little off because I'm live and we're half in. But if I had to analyze it, I would know. So the price went up so much, but the living conditions and the situation that people are finding themselves in didn't change that much. Right? Some communities still finding themselves in abject poverty. A lot of communities still finding themselves in abject poverty. Right? And we wonder why. Why this thing just keep perpetuating? Well, there's an index, there's a correlation. There's a correlation. So when they come about telling you, man, we can get into it. Phil is saying good night, Delta 9 and travelers, welcome. Big up yourself, Phil. Thanks for being a part of the live. Bantu King is saying life was great under the Burnham PNC. Yes, Delta. Peanut punch, my favorite too. I remember. Remember the Tapico milk, right? Yeah. Is either Tapico or Lasco? One out of no, Lasco is in the pack. Lasco is the powder in the pack that is mixed. It's Tapico is in the plastic. Bantu King is saying this was happened when the government got to take orders from the IMF. Well, yesterday or Tuesday when we were live, I was highlighting a portion from Honorable Founder Leader, the great Mr. Burnham, and he was highlighting the fact that, listen, when you like tech aid and you got to deal with all of these different financial institutions internationally, you're going to reap a lot of problems in your country. So that's a powerful point that you're making right there, Bantu King. $400 for a loaf of Bakewell sliced bread? No. $300 for a pack of tennis roll. $400. for the bread. So it's little less than $2, right? Which, to be honest with y'all, to be completely honest with you, is not that bad, if you're comparing it. If you're comparing it to international prices, it's not that bad. But the thing is this, Guyanese ain't getting paid international wages, right? Y'all ain't making money like New York. Y'all ain't making New York minimum wage. So why a bag of bread in Guyana is just as much, almost as much as it is in New York. Matter of fact, you could get a bag of bread for cheaper than that in New York, for cheaper than 400 Guyana dollars in New York. You could get a bag of bread. Yeah, you could get a bag of bread for less than that. Because 400 is gonna give you like, let me see, probably like one something, going almost $2, because I think the exchange rate in Guyana is like two something, 220. So let me say almost $2, right? And you could go into some stores and you could get a bag of bread for $1 something. So that's crazy. And they sell these same products in New York, they sell same Bakewell products in New York. But I'm not sure about what the price for the Bakewell products is in New York. But next time when I'm in New York in one of the stores on Liberty, I'm gonna do a price check. I might even do a live so we could compare prices and see what's going on with cost of living and stuff like that. Lorraine is saying, Delta, my grandmother was a water woman. Sambek Parker. And when you see Booker's taxi roll up, it's Christmas and New Year's, right? We used to give our friends, telling you, Booker's. You know a crazy thing about Booker's, Lorraine? I think Booker's is the prior name, if I'm not mistaken, for Guyana stores, right? And guess what? My mom and my dad met at Guyana stores when they used to work there in their younger days. I used to play in Guyana stores as a child, many times after school while I'm waiting for my mom to finish working at Guyana stores. I used to do on the I don't know if persons on the live could remember, they used to have a horse in there that you used to put quarters in, and it would ride it not too far from the door, So good times, man, good times from back then. But the prices right now is crazy. It's crazy. You're talking Wonder Bread. The sprout bread that I buy is $2.29. Yeah, $2.29. That's not bad. That's very affordable. And then you got they got a lot of the dollar stores and other stores as well that sell bread. And who knows if it might be just as good as what you're getting from other places. Who knows? And then they got other private bakeries over here as well that got very affordable products as well, right? Bread and different rolls and stuff like that that they sell. Jem, thanks for being a part of the live. Yes, and some of us are ashamed to talk about, and some of us are ashamed to talk about they are hungry. Now Rihanna is saying, Delta, it has hurt me to see how they have Guyana stores. Yeah. It's make me wonder if they have another plan for the area or something, and they're just waiting to demolish it and, probably create a different establishment there. But they didn't do much to the structure because it still got a lot of the similar appearance from a number of years before.
Is that they have no plan for poverty alleviation here. Can you imagine? We passed a budget of over $1 trillion. And of that, if 1% has gone to poverty amelioration measures, a lot has gone in. Now, the problem that you're having here is that wages and salaries are stagnant. The government, and I've noticed across the region, media reports that, oh, the government of Ghana is giving away money to citizens. But this is the problem that is happening. When that money, which is, let's say, the equivalent of $500 US, as soon as it hits the economy, all of the prices raise. And then when that money is finished, you go back to the same old salary that you had. So every time this government does a cash grant, because there's nothing like stabilization of prices here. So if
there isn't. Well, yeah,
there isn't. So if, for example, a cash grant for children is announced for school uniforms, immediately a school uniform goes up by almost 20 to 30% in price. It does not come back down when that grant is finished. And so you
Crazy times in our nations as far as it relates to cost of living, right? And a lot of the hurdles that persons definitely are facing on the ground. Now, what's the importance of worldview? The perspective that you hold, the foundation that you hold when you're analyzing what's going on in the world before you. How important is that? We're going to analyze some of these truths right here on Truth Thursday with Delta 9 Media as we take the flight to a different altitude right now.
Civil societies exist because the learner class and the peasant class are fundamentally different. Therefore, the motivations, the beliefs, the worldview of these two classes must be different. Okay, so the peasants, what do peasants want? They want to live a simple life. They want to make some money. They want to have a family. They want to have some fun. They want to believe in God, okay? And so for the peasant class, we have organized religion, whether it's Islam or Christianity, okay?
So for the peasant class, they have organized religion, right?
Okay, well, civil societies exist because the learner class and the peasant class are fundamentally different. Therefore, the motivations, the beliefs, the worldview of these two classes must be different. Okay, so the peasants, what do peasants want? They want to live a simple life. They want to make some money. They want to have a family. They want to have some fun. They want to believe in God, okay? And so for the peasant class, we have organized religion, whether it's Islam or Christianity, okay? Christianity. Jesus, right? Jesus tells you to be a good person. Confucius tells you to be a good person, right? But the learner class.
So the importance of worldview. What is the views that you hold? Are you a part of the peasant class, or are you a part of those that are on a more elevated perspective? It's all about how you deal with understanding the things that are playing out right in front of your face. Because as we analyze the correlation, because a lot of times persons will say, I can leave them to God. It's only time with them, God can deal with this situation. God's going to deal with this. God's going to deal with that. But we tend to forget. We tend to forget about our own present divinity. right? And we tend to forget that there's a very strong correlation. So when persons coming around, whether they be politicians or whoever they might be, and they're telling you about anything that got to do with a religious solution, just remember that there's a strong positive macro level correlation between poverty and religion. Generally, the poorer a country or region is, the more religious its population tend to be. I'm going to read that again for emphasis. There is a strong positive macro level, meaning it's big beyond the smaller micro implications. There's a strong positive macro level correlation between poverty and religion. Generally, the poorer a country or region is, the more religious the population tend to be. Global data from organizations like Gallup poll shows that religiosity is highest in the world's poorest nations and lowest in high income developing nations. So it seems like if is a worldview hurdle that a lot of places in the world need to surmount. It seems as if the chains of religion is also putting chains on our pockets, is also putting chains on a lot of things that's going on in our communities. It can't just be a coincidence that you're finding a lot of religion in some of the poorest nations. All of this can't be a coincidence, right? It got to be some amount of deliberate oppression going on in these regions. And as we analyze what's going on with it, let's get into some more. We're taking the flight at different altitude. It's True Thursdays right here on Delta 9 Media.
Right? Because most people, when they think about the Catholic Church and slavery, they think about individual Christians who participated in the slave trade. You know, priests who looked the other way, missionaries who showed up alongside colonial armies. And yes, all of that happened. But this apology is about something much more specific, much more deliberate, and much more damning. It's about a document, a single piece of paper signed in Rome in 1452 that gave Europe's kings the legal and spiritual authority to invade Africa, to capture its people and enslave them forever. The document is called Dum Diversas, and I can almost guarantee nobody taught you in school. So here's the scene. The year is 1452. Pope Nicholas V is sitting in Rome. Portugal has been raiding the coastline of West Africa. Just 8 years earlier, in 1444, the first enslaved Africans arrived in Europe. 235 people sold in a market in Lagos, Portugal, like cattle. The Portuguese king wants more slaves. He wants to keep going. But he wants something first. He wants God's blessing. So he writes to the Pope. And the Pope, Pope Nicholas V, writes back. On June 18, 1452, he issues a papal bull called Dum Diversas. And inside that document, he gives King Afonso V of Portugal the authority in the name of God to do the following: invade, search out, capture, subjugate, and reduce to perpetual servitude all pagans, unbelievers, and enemies of Christ.
I'm telling you, So we could understand why there might be a correlation, right? And we could understand that there might be a hidden hand behind persons taking the allegorical representations in these holy books that's there to help you to understand your present divinity by taking these allegories and interpreting them in a literal manner. And it seems like a lot of these tendencies are putting persons in hurdles that is creating poverty all over the world.
Ages. I follow what I'm saying. I don't know where I'm at. Okay, I'm good. You see, around the 4th century, 325 AD, when the Roman Catholic Church created this program that we now call Christianity at the Council of Nicaea, under the rule of Emperor Constantine with 318 Roman Catholic bishops. Fact. Thereafter, shortly thereafter, the program wasn't catching hold in the minds of the people fast enough. So the Roman Catholic Church thrust the Roman Empire, or the then known world as we were taught to call it, into what was called the Dark Ages. Now mind you, this is in the 4th century, the Nicene Council, 325 AD. Starting 500 AD, the Roman Catholic Church suppressed information. All books were burned. I repeat, all books were burned. Anybody who was caught with any sacred writings of the ancient African spiritual system was put to death. I repeat, anybody who was caught with any of the writings from ancient Africa was put to death by order of the Roman emperor. So from 500 AD to 1500 AD, information and right knowledge was suppressed. Fact.
Crazy.
They call it the Dark Ages.
Yep.
Or that was the period of medieval Europe, or the Middle Ages. All these names, the same thing.
Worldview, very important. What is your worldview, right? What is the perspective that you're going to hold? Because there's a lot going on. There's a lot of things that are put in place to keep you in a religious mindset, in a mindset where you're taking allegory from all of these religious texts and you're interpreting it from a literal perspective, which is causing you to neglect the real understanding about your present divinity that is written within these same texts and explained within the allegories. We're going to get into some more of these details. It's True Thursdays. We're taking the flight to a different altitude.
AD. Check the timeline. The daughter of Neil. You ever heard of her? Marjorie. The Moorish Countess Marjorie was a dark-skinned Pictish woman from 1256 to 1292 AD. Check the timeline. The daughter of Neil, Niger. Check the spelling. The Earl of Carrack, who was a son of Donachad, same as Duncan, meaning swarthy. Look that word up right there, swarthy. It's going to be a connection there. The Moorish princess married Robert de Bruce and gave birth to a son named Robert the Bruce, who became the first king of the Scottish Bruce dynasty. The princess godson David II became the second king of the House Bruce. Right there. This is why I want to pause it. In Chicago, it's a beer company named Three Floyds. They got a beer that's called Robert the Bruce.
That's not that, guys, by the way.
Her granddaughter, Princess Margaret, also called Marjorie, married Walter Stewart VI and became the mother of Robert II, who became Scotland's first Stuart king. It was the Stuart dynasty that brought forth today's King James Version of the Bible.
Why didn't you tell me?
That's where you get the foundation of the original King James Version Bible.
That nigga's in his bag. And they ain't hit the like button yet.
We've just destroyed everything they told us about who wrote the so-called Bible. The people that wrote the so-called Bible look like you and I. Copper complexion, olive complexion, swarthy complexion. They were not pale skins. You want to go a little further?
It's crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy.
The King James Version of the Bible, which was authorized and named after a Moorish man named King James Stewart in 1611. What else they been hiding? The Bruce dynasty was a direct descendant of David I. David I was the great grandnephew of the Pictish king, King Niger, Kenneth Duff, Dub, or Duffy. You ever heard of her? Marjorie, the Moorish?
You see, there's so much information that we gotta investigate, and there's so many details that we gotta analyze, so we could unravel what's really going on in front of our faces. The correlation between religion and poverty. So when we hear that Guyana is one of the wealthiest nations in the world, but it is dealing with so much poverty, we gotta ask ourselves, is Guyana a very religious country? Why? How come? Is it deliberate? Is it beneficial? And what steps can we take to surmount these hurdles that it might cause? Right? Because it can be no coincidence. It cannot be a coincidence. Big up to all the travelers. Bantu King is saying slabs are running the country. Paulette is saying good night to everyone on the live. Big up yourself, Paulette, one of our insightful moderators and a frequent traveler on Delta 9 Media. I'm telling you, it's a truth. Thursday, Rasta Empress is saying this. Matter of fact, before I forget, let me make sure that after I would have shared that information, I shared this information right here as well. Because over here at Delta 9 Media, we don't try to gatekeep the information, you know. Nah, I just share the information so that we all can advance together. Each one teach one, right? So if you would like to gain insights on any of these topics that are on your screen, scan the barcode, and the barcode will take you to a notebook learning module. Yeah, this is the age of AI. This is the digital age. So you can use these notebook learning modules to expand your understanding on numerology, the occult, astrology, the straw man, Gnosticism. Gnosticism is some of the information that I was just getting into, probably the beginning of that, right? So you could use these barcodes, scan the barcode is going to take you to a learning module. The learning module got a collection of books on the topic, videos on the topic, articles on the topic as well, that you can now manipulate into a number of different ways to learn and to teach your loved ones about these things. And we got so many other notebook learning modules that we can share. And because we had to repopulate the channel, I'm going to make sure that I share these other notebook learning modules with you right now. Look, this one as well. This is a collection of learning modules right there. And we have other ones on other barcodes. I'm going to put all of them in this live. Right? This one is another barcode as well for another notebook learning module. right? This is a barcode for the barcode on your screen right now is the one for the budget that got all the business books, 100 and something different business books, articles and videos and stuff like that. We were using it to analyze the stuff from the budget and stuff like that that we had to pull down when we had to repopulate the channel for whatever reason that was decided. And this is another notebook learning module right here. This is a notebook learning module on history. I think we might have shared history on that last placard, but nonetheless, this one takes you to our notebook learning module with history, a number of history books, books from Ivan van Sertima, articles from Ivan van Sertima, a number of different scholars on history right there on your screen. So many things for us to analyze. And guess what? It's Delta 9 Media. Make sure that you subscribe. And if you would like to become a channel member, this is your barcode right there that's above my head. You could scan that barcode and you can become a channel member. That's your independent way, how you can support independent media. That's how you can support Delta 9 Media or support any of our sponsors. Support 8 Butterfly, support all the other sponsors that come through and support Delta 9 Media so that we could continue to create content like this and bring these kind of presentations to you wherever you're located all over the globe. If you're not already subscribed, hit that subscription button, buddy. It don't cost you nothing to subscribe to Delta 9 Media and share the content so that other persons will have an opportunity to stay updated with all of this very important and trending information. Now, let's see what is going on in the chat. Rasta Empress is saying, yes, Booker's is became Guyana stores. My mom took me at Guyana stores to buy school clothes and supplies. Delta, I was scared for that horse. Mom always wanted to take me to it. Thought it was a 25. Yeah, it was a 25 cents. Look, listen, I used to get a good amount of quarters in my pocket, at least $1 or more. You understand? So while I waiting for my mother now to finish, I would have taken my ride every couple of minutes. I jump on and it's me on the horse, yeah, the son or gone outside. And I gone and walk and look at the people them who was selling the craft and different things. You know, I come back inside, walk around the store and different things, you know. Lil Diz. Bantu King is one set of people control the import and distribution of goods and they control the price. And if you got that going on, you're gonna got a class of people who's gonna always find themselves on the wrong side of the prices, right? It's crazy. Jem is saying, and that is 5 in the bag. Yeah, 5 in the bag used to be $80. When I was younger, 5 tennis roll in the bag. I remember back then was Humphrey's Bakery, was Pearl's Bakery, Bakewell Bakery. So it was Pearl's and Bakewell that we used to sell. Pearl's and Bakewell. Rasta Empress pointing out the fact that we all get our own timeline, real thing. And the poor was led to believe that the rich are in heaven. It's crazy. It's crazy when we think about it. So much of the information that they present to us is to mislead us into being comfortable with these levels of oppression that we find ourselves living in Bantu King. Real thing. So we kind of lean on the crutch of religion, every time we find ourselves in these very oppressive situations, we say, oh, you know, sometime soon, God is going to create a better situation for us. But the thing that we forget is that the God that we were waiting for is looking at us in the mirror. That's the thing that we forget. Our own present divinity that put us in these situations over and over again to be oppressed and misled by these people. Bantu King is saying the chains are around the minds of many. I broke my chain many years ago. I'm telling you, real thing. And a lot of persons might even be hearing this conversation and saying, but what craziness Delta 9 Media talking about? Check out the information for yourself. I present the information, you know, so that persons can check out the facts for themselves, and then we could come back and have a real conversation on it. Me ain't trying to sell you nothing. I ain't trying to recruit you into no religious organization, no political organization. I'm just a brother of the soil, just like you. Each one teach one and help to raise the nation into the kind of country that we know it could be, right? Rasta Empress is saying this woman really breaks it down. Yeah. See the travelers. Ronald, we're going on. Ronald is saying good night, Delta 9. It's revelation time. We are in right now. Revolution time, sorry. It's a revolution time that we're in right now. Crazy. It's crazy. Rasta Empress is saying the key word is servitude. Of course. But it's who's going to be doing the serving and who's going to be doing the controlling. You see, this thing is all about control and power, you know. Power and control. Power and control. And the one thing that a person that is trying to control you and to have power over you would always be glad if you can be illiterate about who you are. If you don't know yourself, you can't love yourself. If you don't love yourself, you can't love nobody else. And a lot of persons are walking around and they don't know themselves. They don't understand themselves. So persons are able to manipulate them and manipulate all these so-called loved ones. Because again, if you don't love yourself, you can't love nobody else. And you can't love yourself if you don't know yourself. Marcia is saying good night to all watching the Delta 9 show. I miss your show. I was looking at my daughter-in-law. You didn't miss it. You could always catch it on the rewind in the future. Thanks for being a part of the live nonetheless. We're still here and you're right on time, Marcia. Big up yourself. Thanks for being a frequent traveler on Delta 9 Media, right? The Rasta Empress is saying the Nicene era changed the whole aura of our spirituality, of our spiritual understanding, giving us a state of church doctrine, right? And taking us away from our understanding of our present divinity, things that we understand long now. And it goes through all the religions, you know, Hinduism, Muslims, Christians, every one of them got it right there in front of your face. But it's your perspective of self that is separating you from the very divinity that you're reading about. Your perspective of self. Who are you in the context, in the text that you're studying? Who are you? Right? Are you separate from the infinite present divinity? Last I checked, there could only be one infinity, so you can't be separate from infinity. So if God is infinity, how could you then be separate from present divinity. You can't be separate from infinity. There's only one infinity. Bantu King is saying the time of the crusaders who slaughtered many in the name of God. Many churches still have crusades, but they are not winning souls for Christ. It's crazy. A lot of people don't. Real thing. Each one teach one. Operating in that manner, there's no failure. Real thing. Real thing. The barcodes are there for the notebook learning modules, and persons can take advantage of it. Big up to all the frequent travelers in the chat right now. Big up to everyone who makes this live what it is. Everybody who contribute in the comment section. All the frequent travelers, the new travelers, the persons that are going to catch this live in the rewind in the future. Big up yourself. Make sure you subscribe, Delta 9 travelers, and check out our other 2 channels that are part of this platform as well, and is a part of everything that we got going on. We got stuff on a number of topics that'll be very interesting to you. So make sure that you subscribe and you're a part of the team. One love, and I will catch you in the next flight. Thanks for being a part of this live presentation.
Sleepy is the only diaper brand in Guyana with such a wide range to choose from. We cater to all babies, from newborns all the way to stage 7. Our collection includes Sleepy New, Sleepy Sensitive, Sleepy Natural and Organic, Sleepy Night, and don't forget our fashion jeans. Most of all, they're available in both paste and pull-up styles. Sleepy, Guyana's #1 selling baby diaper, available at stores nationwide.
100% wild-crafted sea moss. Only the best, 'cause you deserve nothing less. 8 Butterfly.